All right. I think we are live. What is up, everybody? And welcome to this VA Home Loan Workshop. Hope you are all having a wonderful day. And I seriously cannot wait to share all of this wonderful information on the VA home loan benefits because this workshop or this it's about a 20-minute workshop is all about building wealth using the VA home loan benefits. All right, so let's get this party started. But before I do that, I want to talk about a quick little story. Okay, quick little story. When I when I got out of the Marine Corps, this was in 2004. I was given my orders, to like that's it, my discharge orders, and I remember going to TAPS, and I know TAPS nowadays. The transition assistance program is like 2 weeks. But back then, 2004, it was like a 3 hour orient. It was more like an orientation on how to transition to the civilian world. And let me tell you, I didn't want to be there, and it was a blur, and I just whatever. Um, I do remember though this pink sheet that said, "Hey, you qualify for your VA home loan. You can buy a home using your VA." I go, "Oh, cool! I love it." So a few days later, I'm sitting at my mom's house. Seriously, at my parents' house, kind of homeless, right? Grown man, serving in the Marine Corps. Now I'm at home, so that didn't sit very well. So what I ended up doing is mope. I was moping for about 2 weeks, and then I got a job, and then I go, all right, I got my job, I got my first paycheck. I went to apply. I went to Bank of America to apply for this, and obviously that was a mistake. Nothing against B of A, but those big banks, they don't really look out for you as much, specifically for veterans. So there was $130,000 condo I wanted. If I didn't qualify, they wanted me to put like 20% down, and we weren't even going to use my VA home loan benefit. And I was kind of bummed. Um, I ended up moving out, just renting with some other roommates, but I was still bummed about it. Now, fast forward about 18 months, and I got into the industry, and I quickly learned about the VA home loan benefits. And guess what? I was able to qualify. It's just that Bank of America wasn't very interested or didn't know how to help me. And that made me a little bit angry. Actually, that's probably the reason why I do this. It's out of revenge, It's like there's like this anger. Like I lost out on over 120, $130,000 in equity that first year because a Bank of America loan officer did not know about VA home loans and just basically said, um, you need a down payment, and didn't really take the time to help me. So what did I what well, once I knew I was able to qualify, the reason I'm saying I lost like $130,000 in equity is because once I learned and I discovered that I was able to qualify, I go back, I got fully approved. I go back and try to get that same condo or something similar. And now it was like 235, 240,000. So obviously at that point, it was like, oh my God, that's it. And this was back in 2005. And this was one bedroom, one bath, small little condo. So it didn't really work out. It wasn't in the best area of town. But the point is, I lost out on that equity, and who knows? Maybe that would have made a big difference in my net worth nowadays because as homeowners, you're definitely your net worth is definitely a lot higher than that of renters, and that's why I'm sharing all of this with you because with the VA home loan, with the VA home loan benefit, you're able to start building your equity and start building your net worth without even having a down payment. Again, the homeowner's net worth is about 35 times that of a renter's net worth. And let me give you a quick example. Take a $400,000 home and hold it for, say, 5 years. In 5 years, at 6% appreciation, you're looking at about $125,000 in increased appreciation or net worth. Okay. So renters potentially, whatever they save, and savings for renters is the average savings is about $5,000. So if you compare that to, owning a home, that's where that 35 times higher comes from. And the number one reason is appreciation, because appreciation is there. And it's because you got a lot of millennials, right, that are entering that 30 to 35-year mark, and they are looking to start a family. And to start a family, what do they need? They need a home. Again, not all millennials are looking to start families. Okay, I'm just generalizing. All right. Overall, they do want to start a family, and they need a home. And the reason I say millennials, because millennials and baby boomers are the two largest demographics in U.S. history. And as more millennials need housing, and baby boomers are living longer, there's definitely a shortage in homes, and builders simply can't. They can't build fast enough, and they're behind. And that all, I mean, that's another story. In 2008, 2009, they kind of stopped and they fell behind, and that's why there's a shortage right now. So when there's a shortage of something, the supply is low, but the demand is high. That continues to keep the prices of a home, the appreciation, up. And I always like to say that homeownership is probably the fastest, or not the fastest, the easiest and most secure way to accumulate wealth. And I know there's other ways, like the stock market. And the stock market could be very fast if you know what you're doing. I mean, you can play the stock market. You can also win the lottery. That's another way to accumulate wealth. You can marry into it. Find yourself a sugar mama, sugar daddy to take care of you. You can invent like the next big app or technological advancement or AI or whatever. But that's, the probability is it's kind of low. So that's why I say that home ownership is probably no. Home ownership is the best and easiest way to accumulate wealth. And that's because everybody needs a place to live, right? So let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Luis Renteria. I am a United States Marine. I served from 96 to 2004 as an 0481 Logistics Marine. Um, 0481 Logistics, that's pretty much a good mix between a pogue and a grunt, right? I'm not all 100% admin, but I'm also not 100% out in the field eating crayons. Although I do partake in the crayon eating activities. All right, don't get me wrong. I got some nice flavored colors or crayons too. Anyways, that's another story. But in the Marine Corps, I was blessed to do some really cool things, and I worked some embark. I worked some airfield load planning. I even got to go to jump school, which was pretty amazing. And what's funny is that I complained about all this while I was going through it, but now I'm so grateful I went through it. So once I got out, I definitely missed it. 2005, I got into the lending industry. I've been doing that since. I've helped hundreds, I don't know, maybe thousands of veterans. No, I want to say hundreds, maybe like about at least over 600 veterans with their home purchase. And yeah, I've learned a thing or two over the years. So today, I'm going to help you understand your home loan benefits. That's the purpose of this live. This is like true live. This isn't like that fake live that you hear about. So if there's any mistakes or stutters, I am ESL. English is my second language. So bear with me. So let's talk about what is on the agenda for today. Okay. First thing, where is it? Let's talk about what a VA home loan is. All right. And then we're going to talk about why use the VA home loan. Then we have, what do we have? Who can use it? What can be financed with it? Um, the benefits of home ownership and the benefits of home ownership. All right, so let's get this party started. What is a VA home loan? Well, it's pretty simple. It's a program. It's a loan designed right after World War II to create a no down payment option. So the mission of this program was to provide a no down payment option for all the um, all the service members coming back from the war. So it's a program that was designed specifically for you, the veteran, and that's because you earned it. Okay, you signed on that line, which was dotted at MEPS, and I, God, I barely remember MEPS. It was a blur, but I do remember that clearly. Like that was vivid when I signed on that line, which was dotted, payable with and up to our lives. Right? Yeah. Hey, give them one. So again, the mission was to provide a no down payment program, and it has succeeded. So let's talk about the requirements, the VA home loan requirements, and on the income side, you need a 2-year employment history. That's pretty standard. 2-year employment history, whether you're self-employed or if you work for a company as a W-2 employee. Um, Pro tip is time in school. Say you're going to college and you just graduated and you've been in college for at least 2 years, or you went to an accredit like a trade school or something of that sort. Well, you can use that. We can take those transcripts and use those, or that certificate or that diploma, and use that as employment history. And as soon as you have your job offer, you can actually purchase using that income. Credit. Let's talk about credit. The VA does not have a minimum FICO score requirement. It's advised that you have at least a 640 is a good target, so you could get better rates. We can go as low as 580, but the rates are going to be garbage. 640, 660 is probably going to be that sweet spot. I mean, if you're higher, that's cool. I mean, that's even better, but it's not going to make much of a difference. I think after 680, that's it. You kind of max out on the benefit of that credit score. Um, if you've had any foreclosures, BKs, or derogatory accounts, the VA is very flexible and takes a very subjective approach to underwriting that portion. So I've seen it where, with extenuating circumstances, um, veterans buy again after just 1 year of having a foreclosure. So again, very subjective. We paint the story. That's what my job is to paint the picture and show and illustrate to the underwriter what is what's the story, right? And that's something that I think that's why I'm angry, and that's why I do this. It's a revenge. I do it out of revenge, because Bank of America didn't do that to me or with me. They didn't bother to look at my story and help me. They just kind of treated me like a number, and that's a problem with these bigger banks, the big institutional banks. They take a very by the numbers approach, and that's not good for veterans, and that cheats the veterans out of their home loan benefits. All right, let's move on to assets. Assets, you're going to need anywhere between 1% to maybe 3% for a deposit. Now, this isn't money that, you're going to use for your purchase. You just need at least a at very minimum at 1% deposit, so that when you make your offer, you prove to the seller that you show to the seller that you're not playing games, that you're serious about making this offer. A lot of the times, if there is a seller credit for closing cost, you get that money back at closing. And I've had plenty of veterans that they put in, a good $4,000, $5,000 deposit on a $500,000 purchase, and they get that money back at closing because the seller's providing 2 to 3% in closing cost credit, and then it's 100% financing, no down payment on VA loans, and we'll go over that in a little bit. So they get that money back. Again, this upfront money, this deposit is just to make your offer a little more attractive. In some cases, if the seller doesn't provide a closing cost credit, then you got to come in with that closing cost credit, which is about anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000. Well, it all depends on the purchase price. If it's a $3 million home, well, it's going to be a lot more, right? All right, moving on. Let's talk about what you can buy, and you cannot buy this house right here. Okay, this house is falling apart. Now, there's three rules to this, three basic rules. Okay, the house needs to be safe. It needs to be sound. It needs to be sound, and it needs to be sanitary, meaning it needs to be livable. It can't be a tear down. It cannot be infested with roaches, beetles, or you know termites. It needs to be all clear, and the reason is because the veteran or the VA doesn't want the veteran to incur any hardship expenses after closing. 6 months down the road, they're in their house and the roof is falling in, and now that's going to be a big expense for the veteran and his family. So the VA tends to look out on that, which is why they require Section 1 clearance on termite and or beetle, depending on what part of the country you're in. But I can talk about that more in detail in person or on a Zoom call. What type of properties can you buy? Well, you can buy a single family residence. You can buy a townhouse. You can buy a manufactured home, like a mobile home, but it cannot have wheels underneath. It needs to be converted to a permanent foundation, meaning you cannot buy a mobile home that's in a mobile home park. You need to buy the land, own the land, and then if it's attached, if it's a manufactured home attached to the foundation, then you're good to go. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's talk about who can get a VA home loan. Well, clearly the veteran on his own can get a VA. The veteran with his spouse, the veteran with another veteran. So you got another devil dog that you guys want to partner up and buy a house. You're a Marine as well. Bam, you can put together your money or your income and buy that home. You can buy. Oh, I forgot to mention, backing up a little bit. Boom, 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 boom. I need to add some stuff to this. You can buy a 2 to 4 unit home as well. That's a huge one. I forgot to even put that down. So you got a veteran with another veteran that wants to, you guys want to go in on a fourplex. Bam, it's possible. All right. And you can even use the rental income from the other units to qualify for the loan. It could be used as effective income. And also a veteran can buy with a civilian, but you do need a down payment for that. If you're buying with another person, like say your mom or your dad, one additional person, you're going to need about 12.5% down. And then there are some guidelines to look out for. All right, so let's talk about what makes the VA loan so special. I mean, why am I doing this? What's so special about it? Well, let's start with the fact that it's 100% financing, meaning no down payment, and if it's negotiated into the contract, that means zero out of pocket if you can get the seller to contribute to your closing costs. So think about it. It's probably more expensive to get into a rental because you have to put first month's, last month's deposit or whatever they ask for. You're probably looking like at $7,000-8,000 by the end of the day. And here you got your VA home loan benefits that allows you to buy your home. Okay, invest in your future, invest in your start building your legacy, and it's less expensive. Number 2 is there is no mortgage insurance. This is big because if you're putting less than 20% down, there is mortgage insurance, a mortgage insurance premium that you pay per month. And that's basically that's insurance for the lender to in case there's a default. The mortgage insurance company pays the lender the monthly payment until the property is foreclosed. Number 3, lowest rates in the market. Like there's no doubt about it. I've seen VA mortgage rates, 1% to 1.5% lower in some cases. So VA has the lowest rates in the market. Now, this is the loan limit for a long time, we did have loan limits. It was county loan limits or whatever the VA was stating. Well, in 2000, oh my God, 2018, 2017, 18, 19, one of those years, they removed the loan limits. So now, especially for my peeps in the Bay Area, um, $3 million home, it's zero down. I've done it in Los Gatos. Um, Here in Texas, same thing, like 700,000, not a problem. And I think the loan limits here are right around 650, like the county loan limits, even lower for FHA. But anyways, as long as you qualify for it, as long as you have the income, there are no loan limits. You can go up to $4 million. I don't think I've ever seen anything at 4 million. Can you imagine the payment at 4 million? It's probably like 30,000 a month. How does that make you feel? Mm. Next benefit, most flexible guidelines. So, like I said, very subjective type of underwriting. Income, 2 years of employment history, but you can use school in lieu. I mean, if there's any employment gaps, as long as we explain it and there's a good reason, the underwriting department will accept it and the VA will accept it. And I'm not going to talk about credit because, again, the most flexible in the market. The EARL program, the IRRL program, the interest rate reduction refinance loan. So once you're in your home and say the rates right now are, let's just say they're 7%, and in 6 months they drop to 4%, let's say, you're able to refinance this loan without pulling an appraisal and without verifying income. Still have to verify employment, make sure you have a job, but you don't have to verify income and go through the W-2s and the pay stubs or all that stuff. No, it's very easy. It's a very streamlined process. You can even skip a payment, right? You can include the prepaid interest in the payoff and in the current loan. And there was one more thing that was unique about this, but I can't think of it. But again, the EARL program, super, super cool. Yeah. Did I say no appraisal? Yeah, no appraisal required. I don't know. ADD, I lost it. Cash out refinance. That's the other reason VA home loans are so special. And that's because you're able to pull, say you buy your home for $500,000 and then in 2 years it's at 600,000, and you got you want to do a remodel of the house, or you need some money to pay for some college tuition, or you need it for some sort of I don't want to say emergency because that's not that's not a really good reason to use your equity in your house. But hey, college tuition, if there's no other option and your kid is going to Harvard or Yale or some private school that he or she got accepted to, well, guess what? I'm going to pull money from my home to give my kid that education. So you can pull up to 100% financing with VA. So if the property is worth 600,000, you can pull that extra 100,000 if you bought your house for 500,000. So the other programs out there, like conventional financing and FHA, they only allow you to pull up to 80% loan to value, or you have to have at least 20% of equity left over. Well, the VA, you don't need that. You can go 100% financing. Now, my favorite part, let's talk about those VA home loan myths, because this gets me angry too. VA is myth number one is that it's one-time use only. Okay, you can only use it once and then that's it. Once you have your home, you're done. Well, that is false. You can use it over and over and over. And there's strategies that we can use to reinstate your entitlement. So once that entitlement is back to 100%, you're able to buy the next home with zero down. Now, there is something called bonus entitlement, and I'm not going to get into those details because the purpose of this workshop is just to give you an outline. Otherwise, this can be like 2-3 hours long. But there is bonus entitlement, which will allow you to have two properties at the same time, as long as they're not, $2-4 million properties. Let's see. Myth number 2, use it or lose it. This is BS as well. So I've helped Vietnam War era veterans buy their first home. And while it was a little bit challenging because we had to find that DD 214 and the certificate of eligibility, and the reason why that's difficult is because those are all that stuff is not stored electronically. There's probably a microfiche. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's like this little piece of plastic with little microscopic writing on it, and then you put it under a microscope. It's bizarre. Yes, I just aged myself. We had those in 8th grade still. Anyways, that's why it's so difficult to get those. But once you have that DD 214 and you can pull your certificate of eligibility, you're good to go. There is no like time limit. So that's amazing. Let's see. Myth number 3, you cannot rent your home. Like you're departing home. Say you have to move and you get reassigned, duty stations, and you need to move. Well, what are you going to do with your house? Like, are you going to sell it or what's going to happen? Well, you can rent it out, use that income to offset the mortgage payment, and then you can buy the next one. And sometimes with 0 down. And if you do need a down payment, it's going to be very minimal. Like there's a really small percentage, and obviously because it's a VA, a very complex formula to calculate all that. All right. Myth number 4, must have perfect credit. I already talked about that. That's false. You do not have to have perfect credit. The key behind this myth is that you need to be able to explain. It needs to make sense. Again, it goes back to that subjective type of underwriting. Takes too long of a process. Myth number 5. Well, let's go back to the use it or lose it example, that Vietnam war era veteran that didn't have their DD 214. That took about 3 to 4 weeks to obtain. Well, if you do not do all of that in the pre-approval process and you issue out a pre-approval, the veteran goes shopping, and then we're like, oh, we don't have the DD 214 or the certificate of eligibility. Well, guess what? It's going to take too long to close. But if you do all of the legwork upfront, which is important, then bam, you can close these like in as little as 12 to 14. I've had some close in 14 days. No kidding. Okay. I know somebody's going to probably come up and say, well, I can do it in 10. And then there's a race to the bottom. Well, I can do it in 7. Well, I can do it in 3. Oh, really? All right, cool. Good for you. So, the last myth is the upfront fee is way too high. Well, that's not really a myth. It is a little bit high. It's about anywhere between 2 to 3% of the loan amount. So if it's a $500,000 loan, you're looking at about a $10,000 to $15,000 payment or funding fee, I should say. Now, that funding fee can be financed into the loan. So if it's a $500,000 loan, you can you can't put it in the loan. So your loan would be 510 or 515,000. And, the reason that funding fee is there is to help the future veterans, with their home purchase. So it's a way to fund this program and keep it alive. Now, huge pro tip: if you are service connected disabled, guess what? This fee is 100% waived. All right. In most cases, in like 99% of the time. There are some cases where, that little exempt is not on that certificate of eligibility. Why aren't more homeowners? Why aren't more veterans homeowners? Okay. So this, again, this really gets to me because it's the same reason I wasn't a homeowner. And if I wouldn't have learned about, my VA home loan benefits, I probably would have stayed renting this whole time and making my landlords rich, because all that rent money goes to pay down their principal balance, not my own balance. So, let's start with reason number one. Veterans lack the correct information. Now, in my case, I didn't have enough information. We didn't have the internet, and what internet we had the AOL little disc that you put in, and you had modem, and it was you guys have it easy. Like we have it easy now with the fiber and all this crazy fast internet. Back then, it was dial up. Mm. So so I didn't have access to information, but now we have way too much information. There's an ocean of information out there, and you really don't know what's right. Nowadays, we just got to, it's hard to tell what's right and what's wrong, what's correct, what's fake news, what's, yeah, what's accurate. So number two, too scary of a process. I mean, where do you start? You Google, oh, I want to buy a home using my VA home loan benefits. You get like 100 videos on how to start, and it's actually pretty simple. And I'll go over it in a bit. Overwhelmed on how to start. That's another top reason. It's like, yeah, don't know where to begin. Um, Veterans feel or felt that they had bad credit. Oh, yeah, I have a charge off on this car that got repossessed, 4 years ago because I deployed and I couldn't, make the payment. Well, guess what? That's a legitimate reason, and as long as we explain it, we can overcome that obstacle. Felt income was not sufficient or not enough. Well, again, we talked about income, and that's not true. A lot of times we underestimate what we're able to do, and not just in buying a home loan, but in everything, right? And again, it goes back to the reason I do this. I do this out of revenge. I do this out of anger. I really get upset about this. It triggers me a little bit because only 18% of veterans buy using their VA home loan benefit. Think about it. 18% of you veterans out there use your VA home loan to buy your home. And why? Because you get swayed away from using the VA home loan, because a lot of realtors, a lot of other lenders, institutional lenders, they do not understand the VA home loan benefits. So if they don't understand it, they're going to shy away from it because they don't want to make a mistake and misguide you. So they'd rather say, you know what, I don't know about it. There's all these myths. I don't know what's right, what's wrong. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not the correct approach. Okay, you earned this benefit. You don't, hold on, let me back up. You don't deserve this benefit. You've earned it. Okay, this is part of your contract which you signed with the US government. Why I do these seminars? To educate. Simple as that. To raise awareness, so that the same thing that happened to me doesn't happen to you. Okay, as you're buying your first home, or you're upgrading. Um, i I don't know, maybe that $125,000 difference in equity, maybe that'd be worth, $5 billion nowadays. Who knows? Maybe I would have started this wonderful app with that $125,000, and I'd be competing with Jeff Bezos, right? But the point is, I don't want that to happen to other veterans, and that's why I do this. Um, here's an interesting fact. 82% of Americans have no ability to retire. Okay. They cannot retire. They need to keep working once they hit retirement age. And only 1 in 3 Americans have zero saved for retirement, which is astonishing. They're all relying on Social Security, on the Social Security benefits. And who knows if that's going to even be, who knows what's going to happen with Social Security, right? So let me tell you what is next. Okay, if you're a realtor watching this, just share this QR code with your buyers, with your veteran buyers, or share my website address, which is www.luisrenteria.com, and have your customers or your clients or your buyers fill out my online application. If you are a veteran watching this, well, scan that QR code and fill out my loan application. What I'm going to do is review review your application within 24 hours. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to jump on a phone call, on a Zoom call, and we're going to go over all of your options, and we're going to see where you stand, see if it makes sense for you to buy, because it may not make sense, right? You may not be ready. Your income may not be sufficient. You may not be stable. You might have to move. So, if it doesn't make sense, hey, we wait until the right time comes up. Okay. So make sure you do it now, take action, don't wait, make it happen, start building your net worth and start working towards building your legacy. All right. I think that is all I have. Let me see. How do I turn this off? I think that is all I have. There's a QR code again. Thank you. And yes, that's my writing. It's pretty neat, right? I ate half of those crayons, by the way, but all is good. I want to thank you all for watching, and hit me up if you have any questions on this. All right, and I'm going to try to do these at least once a month, maybe once every 2 weeks, just so that we get the information out there. Share this with other veterans that you may know, and thank you again. I will talk to you all later. Have a nice weekend.